Gentlemen, thanks a lot for coming in, both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Fred.
Let's start real quickly. We've got a couple of seconds here before we get into the meat of the matter, and we'll start with Terry first. Tell me what the basic premise is of why you're opposed to the 9 is fine idea.
Sure, well, there's a lot of reasons, Fred. Let's begin with, it's a wholesale disenfranchisement of Toledo voters. We're going to switch from having 7 reps on council for every member of the city down to 2. And on top of all that, it's sort of poorly written, and there's a lot of confusion about what the actual effect of the initiative is going to be if it's passed.
All right, Dave, and give me your short version of why 9 is fine is a good idea for the city of Toledo.
Well, it definitely is 9 is fine. The time is for 9 is fine. Our city council size needs to shrink to reflect the downsizing overall in general government and also in our personal lives. Right now, like the city of Pittsburgh has 9 council members. They're roughly our size as well. The city of Columbus has double our size and they have 7 members. So that not only saves money, but our plan also improves representation in the city of Toledo because under our plan, each council district will have, the voters in it will have 2 people accountable to it. And it'll provide better representation. Right now, half the city of Toledo is underrepresented in our current system. So it's a good government initiative and it saves money, which could replace a lot. There's always the component about the quality of the elected officials, but in our system right now, half the city is underrepresented, and we feel, Tom Winooski, Lindsay Webb, and I feel, and our supporters feel that if you actually live in that district, send your kids to school there, shop there, you are a lot more involved in that district and what is going on in it.
Now, let me interrupt you there because this is twice now you've said that a part of the city is underrepresented. Does that have to do with the research that's been out there that says that the at-large council people all live kind of in one little section of the city, that they're not spread out?
Yeah, essentially all 6 of them live in a line west of Douglas Road, and it leaves Point Place, the inner city, the old South Toledo, East Toledo, underrepresented, and our plan will fix that.
All right. Now, Terry, you don't think that it will.
No, I have to disagree with that pretty strongly. I mean, on the one hand, we're hearing from the 9 is fine that the at-large people don't respond well to calls for constituent service and things like that. On the other hand, we're hearing that they're overrepresenting their particular geographic area. Now, it's either got to be one or the other. I have a real difficult time reconciling the 2 of those. They seem opposed.
Well, I have heard from some of the at-large council people and from some constituents, too, that when they call an at-large council person, that person says, well, what district do you live in? And go to that council person first.
In which case,
would lead me to believe that the at-large people aren't doing their job.
In which case, though, they're certainly not overrepresenting any particular geographic area.
Okay.
I mean, the whole intent of having an at-large council person is that you could represent the interests of the city as a whole. Now, Dave mentioned Columbus as having 7 council people earlier, and that's correct, except what we didn't mention is that the 7 council people in Columbus are all elected at large. There are not any district council people down in Columbus.
But Terry, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
When you look at the city of Pittsburgh about 10 years ago, they went to an all-district format to provide better representation. So, that's a moot point.
Well, better representation happens at the ballot box. It does not happen by amending the city charter so that anybody has to come from any particular geographic area.
See, in my argument on all of this, because I haven't made up my mind on this yet, I want to know if we're getting better representation when it comes to quality of people. I'm not really sure that 12 or 9 gives us better representation. It doesn't matter to me where the person comes from. If the person is going to represent the citizens of Toledo the way they're supposed to and watch our backs when it comes to misspent tax dollars and misuse of funds, that's what I'd like to see. Now, and this plan doesn't really guarantee that, but I don't know that any plan can, right, Dave?
Well, we do have an answer for that because if you're electing the person that actually lives in that district, there's more accountability for that. Right now, the at-large councilmen are all elected in a pack. So it's just by getting maybe 12 or 13% of the vote, and then you're elected. You're going to have better competition when you're going to have a one against one race for the super district race. So you're going to the cream of the crop. The cream will rise to the top on that race because voters will have a chance to compare records instead of just voting on the names of people running in a pack. So that is one direct benefit of our plan.
Well, Terry, that kind of makes sense. I mean, if you're going to a super district, it's going to be Terry Biel against Dave Schulz. Instead of Terry Biel, Dave Schulz, Fred LeFebvre, and Megan Smith on the ballot, it's going to be 2 of you back and forth. Someone will be able to make a pretty good choice there.
Sure. Well, that would certainly be an interesting race. I guess the battle of the century. I don't necessarily think that that's better, because what's going to happen instead is that you're going to end up with a bunch of small political dynasties in town. When you have an entirely district system, you're going to end up with a lot of parochialism. It's going to be a winner-take-all kind of system. If any one district gets more service, it's going to be the expense of another district.
But don't we have that now, though, in a lot of sense, even without breaking the city up into districts? And I've noticed it, Brian has noticed it, and he's only been here 3 years, that the city breaks itself up. You know, we've got the old West End. They don't care for the people in the South End. The South End needs something that the North End doesn't. The North End doesn't give a crap what happens, you know, in the downtown area. The downtown completely forgets about the area up in West Toledo. I mean, we already have that balkanization. I don't know that council adds to it or not.
Well, I mean, if that's truly the case, then we would have a proposal on the table to carve the city up into 6 separate municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that that's necessarily the case. I mean, I've been knocking on a lot of doors lately for my campaign, and people across the city share the same concerns for jobs, for financial stability. If I could actually, I want to ask Dave a question just about the way it's written. The very first line in here is amended to read that 9 members elected the 2009 regular city election and thereafter, and that part is sort of contradictory with the part that follows, as you just mentioned. The 3 council members shall be elected at large in 2009 for a term of 2 years. I'm just wondering if that particular discrepancy or idiosyncrasy could be explained.
Is that a discrepancy in your eyes?
It's not a discrepancy. It's actually a description of what the council will be. And by plain reading of the amendment, there's no discussion or no editing of the district council seats. In any way, it is against the Ohio Revised Code law to terminate the terms of incumbent members. So by common sense, in September, we're going to be electing at-large people. So saying that it's insult or it's there's a discrepancy or it's confusing the voters is insulting to the voters of Toledo. And I also want to know who is backing your proposal. Is it the establishment of the Democratic Party who is interested in maintaining the status quo? And by you as a candidate being involved in this, it shows that you're more interested in your political career and not the interests of the citizens.
Is there a problem with you being a candidate and also against this proposal?
No, I don't think there's a problem with that at all. It could just be that I don't think this is what's best for the city, and I'm opposed to it because of that.
Will you like do real online reporting of your contributors to this PAC, so we can see?
Sure, I would be happy to do that.
Okay.
And like I said, there's no
right
overhead
now,
for that right now if nobody's contributed.
So nobody's contributed yet. Has anyone of any note thrown their support for you? As John Stainbrook mentioned in the newspaper the other day, he didn't like the idea.
No, I haven't talked to insiders in either party.
Okay, and we know for a fact that both Lindsay Webb and Tom Winooski are behind the 9 is Fine. Have any other council people climbed on board for that? And have you guys received money from anybody yet to back the 9 is Fine proposal?
Well, we do not have any other councilmen yet. I think we've got a couple supporters that are potential, but we're looking at union support, the business community, and actually, just by how fast we got our signatures, we were doing a 2,000 a week clip for the last 2 weeks. People really want this out there, so we have the people behind us.
So you think there's grassroots support? Have you received? But you skipped the answer. Have you received any money from anybody yet?
Yeah, we've received some personal contributions from private individuals for the petition drive and to the support of Lindsay Webb and Tom Winooski.
All right, and since you wanted Terry to be transparent in his fundraising, will that be up on a website someplace? Will 9 is Fine have a website where they list the people who have donated and the people who are backing it?
Well, we're going to be filing a campaign finance report on July 31st, which will be a public record, but we'd certainly be willing to do it if that's the case.
Fair is fair.
Terry, and you'd be doing the same thing?
Yeah, if we can keep talking about money, I'm interested in talking about the money that this
we have about another minute if you can make it short.
Sure. As you mentioned, you got 2 sitting council people that are backing this. And by your estimations, it's going to save just a little over $250,000 a year. We're facing down a $12 million plus deficit for this year alone. I don't really see how that's an efficient use of current elected officials' time. Is that the quality representation that we're promised from this initiative?
Are you saying they can't represent us because they're working on this campaign?
I'm saying it seems like they've saved about 2% among them, and we've still got 98% to go.
Dave? You're going to get the last word if you can make it fast.
Well, certainly they're allowed to work on issues that provide better representation to the citizens of Toledo. So that really debunks the argument that they're parochial. They're looking out for the interests of the citizens at large.